to note, though, is looking at Salty Potato's composition, who is going where? I'm assuming the Lorelei is going to be in that captain position, but then you have 3 junglers. Who's jungling? Who's going in which lanes? You're going to have 2 heroes. I definitely think we'll see Batiste in the lane. But that means that it's either going to be a Koshka lane or a Crow lane.
I mean, the Crow lane is something that we saw a little bit in 3v3. PvP Warrior was a player that was playing that very frequently in the Challengers. But of course, the Koshka, you could make an argument to put her in the lane. I would feel like the Crow would be the best fit because you get a Book of Eulogies and you can sustain by just getting those last hits and not have to worry about it. But it leads me to believe that they're going to be looking to start those rotations very, very quickly because the lane matchups are not necessarily going to be in their favor, especially when you look at who they're going to be up against on the other side. Adagio, Scarf, and very likely either Alpha or Reza. I would assume the Reza. Those are 3 winning lane matchups against what Salty Potatoes are bringing to the table.
If Cruel ends up in a lane where he's not against the Reza, it's going to be so important for whoever the carries are on Wolves that they are not stepping up too far, because with this brush in these side lanes, Cruel can trade so well with the opposing laner. He gets that passive, he goes and he does a ton of damage, and then he just smites and goes back to full health regardless of what the exchange is. That's something,
especially if you have that Book of Eulogies.
Absolutely.
Get that smite, get a last hit or 2, all of a sudden he's back to full health after a trade. So we're going to find out how this is going to plan out when we get onto the Rise with Dowsy and Stress.
Salty Potatoes and Wolves here looking to try and find a win in the final weeks of this European VPL preseason invitational. Wolves potentially getting stronger and stronger each week, but still sitting in that last position. Stress. Salty Potatoes are trying to reform after a roster shuffle.
Yeah, and the roster shuffle, it was kind of a necessary one after we had that kind of weird phase where they swapped a bunch of people around, but it seems to have kind of solidified itself a little bit with exactly how they have been. Yesterday was, again, a slightly better performance out of them than we've come to expect from the weeks 3 and 4 perhaps, but at this point, I'm looking towards Aeon. I'm looking towards, Riorin in this game to see exactly how it goes. He's playing one of my favorite captains in Lorelei, so interesting. We don't see a lot of Lorelei at all, but good on the defensive standpoint. Good to kind of kite back.
He does attempts to steal there, but not quite able to find the damage with the tick. A little bit of timing it's really needed to try and steal, but currently Wolves trying their best to pressure here onto Salty Potatoes, stealing away camps underneath the noses of Salty Potatoes and really going unpunished for it as well.
Yep, unpunished for now. There is a chase all the way through the topside jungle though, so we have to kind of watch out how this one goes. Here comes Crazy up into the fray, and that really should spell the end here. The numbers being even between 2 teams means that Riorin, already losing a bunch of health, has to be very careful here. Only one ability is his only level 1, so very tough to actually take these fights.
Yeah, and no CC, but boom! First blood, Aceroid's on the board! Double kill comes out for Aceroid there. Impressive stuff. Just hit that level 2, could Prime Directive in. Now jumping onto Imagination here. Doesn't quite hit his Prime Directive this time, and that will be the end of that one, but that is a lot of damage at level 2 for Alpha.
Yeah, massive damage coming out, and Wolves taking full control of that early situation. And this game has started off pretty much in the way they've dictated. They go for the aggressive play into the jungle, try and steal as much as they can, and we've got to kind of switch focus again. We've got to go back to something we talked about yesterday. It's Redix coming in, former G2 player. He's on this Scarf. I've heard so much about him. Yesterday wasn't exactly the best showing out of him. The rest of the team couldn't really gel as they needed everyone to for Wolves. So now I want to see what he can do in this match. This is a matchup that should be a lot closer than yesterday's matchup. So certainly a player to watch for us on Wolves.
Yeah, Redix on that Scarf. He played it yesterday. PT Lamb at the moment trying to put the pressure on to Redix and Cryzior in that bot side jungle. Really, against a Koshka, very difficult to play. You can see the damage that's coming out from Salty Potatoes as they continue to pressure in this middle side. It seems like their pressure is focused towards Redix here. He's back. It's his second game competitively after a year hiatus, and it feels like pressure Redix, maybe you find some kills, but oh my gosh, PT Lamb completely catches out Paprika. The top side Imagination's not having too much fun either. Salty Potatoes really trying to hold Wolves at bay.
Yeah, PT Lamb and Viking finding Paprika as he was trying to move back towards his tower, but couldn't get there in time. Of course, difficult to get away from that Baptiste-Koshka combination once they have their sights set on you. And at this point, that's kind of a good bonus here. Draws the game somewhat even for Salty Potatoes. And this is kind of an awkward start to this game compared to most. We've had Wolves dictate the early game. Now Salty Potatoes are trying to look to do a similar thing as they're trying to get back into this. And Crazy Orc going to pull back PT Lamb and try and focus this game. But it's kind of another one of these loose games. It's not quite uniform from both teams.
Yeah, and Salty Potatoes still experimenting with roles for their team. You know, yesterday we saw PTM, the mid lane. It's always playing lane generally for whatever teams he plays for. But this time he switches into the jungle, lets Aeon take the lane. So potentially just trying to switch it up. Aceroid, just barely missing a prime directive onto Imagination. That would have doomed him to death, I'm sure. And this Cruel in the top side for Imagination, an interesting one. We don't often see Cruel lane. Usually you have him in the jungle. At the moment, I'm not really feeling it.
I think it's a fair question as to like Krull lane why in 5v5, because Krull has this great strength in mobility, utilizing the passive early on, then you use the A to get into lane and set up ganks, but I suppose it's not quite as simple as solo queue is with Krull, where most people are overextending, so I wonder whether they just want to get a little bit of gold generation on Imagination. I mean, there is decent gold out of the jungle, especially with the passive gold that comes through, but certainly it is a question that I want to see whether more teams up towards this, or whether it's something that just Salty Potatoes are really doing.
I mean, when Krull's left open, it seems silly not to pick it. You already have such a strong jungler in that Koshka. You can see Salty Potatoes going to team up and push that turret down. It's going to take a lot of damage before Kigaza and Aceroid can actually get there, and Royaren's going to spot them rotating as well. Turret will fall first of the game, and now PT Lamb jumping on into the fight. Kigaza and Aceroid both level 6. This is a massive disadvantage. Fountain comes out. Great route from Royaren to keep PT Lamb alive for now, but now Imagination will be caught in no man's land. Jumping back in is PT Lamb. Aceroid pops that ultimate, completely taking out Imagination there, and that should be PT Lamb and Royaren trying to fall back as much as possible. Under their turret, Royaren down to half HP, will be able to escape. This turret very low. Does look like here they will be able to clear the lane for now.
Yeah, they're going to push up with that next wave of minions. The mid lane is also getting pushed because Redix on the Scarf has been able to just push it out constantly. And now they're going to turn their attention there. There's just basically map advantages all across the board when you look at it for Wolves. They're not quite in the lead of gold, but once these towers fall, they will be. Kigaza actually couldn't get that wave safely through. It looked like Salty Potatoes risky staying around, but they managed to push the wave back, deter the objective control of Wolves, and what looked to be the moment for them to take the gold lead actually ends up kind of being stifled by decent defensive play out of Salty Potatoes.
Right at the moment, Paprika seems to be struggling against Viking. Baptiste's always been a really good counter for Reza historically. Makes a lot of sense to pop him in the lane against him. Reza wants to be mobile, so you chuck that prism down and really just keep him locked up. And right now, Paprika, you know, he's got that level disadvantage, he's got the health disadvantage, will be able to escape, but that is an ultimate used defensively. It's not really what you want. Now PT Lamb roaming down to the lane. This could mean that the turret gets pushed in.
Yeah, he was kind of greedily looking to try and secure the healing tree. The healing tree for himself. Now Wolves mid lane once again gets de-pushed by Salty Potatoes. So the top tower did fall in favor of Wolves during that sequence. So they have secured themselves a gold lead. Now it's equalized with the bottom tower going down in favor of Salty Potatoes. So Wolves trying to set up around this Ghost Wing a little bit, but look at how Salty Potatoes are closing in on the mid lane with all 5 members. Now Reza is shown in the bottom lane. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a fight here.
Yeah, looks like they want it. There goes PT Lamb jumping on in, or Fearsome Shade knocks 2 back. PT Lamb, huge damage onto him, forces a Fountain out of Royaren, and with that you would think that Salty Potatoes no longer want this engage. Viking is roaming up, but he's also half HP. Wolves might just take this opportunity to secure themselves a Ghost Wing. With that Scarf, with that Alpha, they take it so quickly. Potential for a steal from Viking as he chucks it over, but doesn't quite find it. Will be secured for Wolves here. Salty Potatoes will take the mid lane turret as revenge. Or not.
Oh, not quite. One more hit.
There it is.
There it is. The ultimate thrown out. I would call worth at that point.
If Rearin loses his life here, the Spitfire connects. He should burn. Burn? He's not going to burn, baby burn. He's going to survive. I do have to say, Redix's Scarf looks a little bit more consistent today. Hasn't leveled up his ultimate. It was something that was a little strange from Redix, how often he used the Dragon's Breath, which on 3v3 was very prevalent. The Dragon's Breath often getting used, but here in 5v5, it's just not had as much impact, even though on 3.2 it did get reworked and buffed a little bit. Not going to level up this time, really just trying to get that overdrive onto his A and B as quickly as possible. Imagination attempting the Great Escape. Can he find it is the question. He's coming to the help of Viking. Preeka able to secure that turret. Ace-Royd, he was right next to you!
Did he not have vision?
He did have vision around the corner. Fog of War is a beautiful thing. That's got to feel bad for Ace-Royd.
Yeah, that feels really bad for Ace-Royd. Oh, that was like, must have been like a pixel or two away from being in vision. So a lot of trade there on the side of towers. We've seen more fall in favor of Salty Potatoes. It's tough when you've got this Baptiste, this Krull, both trying to just push towers down as fast as possible, and the whole outer ring has now fallen for Wolves. Now there's a fight in the bottom side jungle.
Yeah, it is going to be Ace-Royd jumping on in. So much damage to PT Lamb already. The ultimate will come out. A fearsome shade pops and a solar storm rips through. Goodbye, Ace-Royd. Paprika won't be able to save you. Gets locked up in the Yummy Company Friends, and he will fall a double kill for that. Baptiste looking for more as Chrysol tries to escape, but he cannot. He's falling at this point. Fountain will keep him alive for half a second as Kigaza gets onto this Celeste, but I don't think he can find the kill. Viking finds a third. Viking looking for more. Will be the kill going over to Imagination, and only Kigaza left alive. Cannot secure a kill just yet. Viking comes in and Viking reaps havoc. PT Lamb will jump in and find the 5th kill of that fight. Not quite an ace. The respawns did come through, but very dominant from Salty Potatoes.
Yeah, very dominant fight out of Salty Potatoes. It doesn't add up to a lead for them by much in the gold, but look at what it's going to get them on the map. They're able to push out bot side, look through the jungle as well. Salty Potatoes can even look to maybe set up a pick. They've seen Reza in the top lane. If anybody drifts to try and get this lane, this wave in the bottom lane, this is going to be real tough. Chrysol doesn't check into them. This is going to push the tower. I think that's a better move in the end of all things. Like, get that objective down. Don't just look for the pick. And now they can back away and reset themselves.
Yeah, Salty Potatoes really just like water onto a stone, chipping away at the Wolves roster. They've got a 2-turret lead. They're moving in for a Ghost Wing for themselves. The previous was secured by the Wolves, but they didn't really make much of it objectively. This could be really good for Salty Potatoes, who have been calling the shots in this game, and we'll go over to them. Fight may break out. Is the Yummy Captain Frenzy? Is just a stun lock for Kigaza. He's not escaping that one. 3 pieces of CC lock him up, and now Salty Potatoes can push that bot lane up. They already prepped it. Just an armory stands in their way with that turret.
Yeah, and of course, as you said, they had a few minions still there. Redix desperately trying to clear the wave before Salty Potatoes get there, but he's in trouble too.
Yeah, PT Lamb will dive in, but loses his life. I say that too preemptively. A good save comes out of Rearin with that water wall, and now it is going to be Wolves attempting to push this lane back. Redix trying to get Spitfires from range. Does look like Salty Potatoes may just count their losses and not attempt too much here. A little bit risky with Kigaza back alive. Will steal away a Crystal Treant for themselves. We'll have to see how far away they want to walk away from this fight. They do have that Ghost Wing buff, remember. It's healing them all back up. They could look to turn at any second, Stress.
Yeah, they need to wait though. Baptiste is still doing the weapon treant on their own jungle, and at this point, that push got stalled because of the minion wave getting cleared by Redix, and then the next minion wave being a very weak one. You didn't have that large minion in the back to tank up a lot of the tower. Wolves going to make a very kind of Hail Mary play here at this point. They're going to go for the Black Claw and try and even this game back up. But it looks like Salty Potatoes aren't quite in position for it. Rearin at least is going to give them vision for now. Maybe you can look for the steal if you can.
It's going to be Black Claw secured for Wolves, but here comes the fight from Salty Potatoes. Jumping onto Chrysol, Paprika escapes. Fountain's coming out, and a stun lock of Fearsome Shade knocking Wolves backwards. First kill is Chrysol, and now it's going to be Aeon losing his life. Asteroid losing his life as well. Paprika cannot escape, gets locked up. Only Kigaza and Redix left alive for the Wolves squad, but the Black Claw is pushing in that mid lane and will need to be responded by the Salty Potatoes squad.
So nice timing and a Wolves to know that they can get the objective. The difficulty there is the fact that Salty Potatoes say, okay, well, we've just been healed up through all of that Ghost Wing sequence, so let's just go and take the fight after they've got it. It doesn't even matter whether Black Claw takes down this middle tower. One tower is a fair price to pay in order to get 3 kills on the back end of that. It still is a trade in favor of Wolves, but it's a lot less damage than if that had been a Black Claw that was able to stay alive for a lot longer with people backing it up. So Salty Potatoes are going to try and reset, look towards the top half of the map, and try and take control of it.
Currently, Salty Potatoes roaming in on Asteroid's territory. They're not going to look for fights just yet. Setting up for this top turret push. Paprika is looking for Crystal Treants. Can't quite find them. Just trying to set up vision. That Ghost Wing will be spawning real soon. But look at the importance Wolves have put to the Ghost Wing pit. And look where Salty Potatoes are. 2 men are down at Ghost Wing. And Salty Potatoes are pushing their base. Maybe Wolves try and take this under the noses of Salty Potatoes backport and then get into the fight. But this is so risky. The Armory turret is going to be sieged whilst Wolves attempt this. They really have to push back. This is a good front face from Wolves, but they can't overcommit to this fight. Fearsome Shade blocked up by Chrysal. Solar Storm will rip through Kigaza. They've done the work here.
Yeah.
They've pushed Salty Potatoes back, and a Ghost Wing will be their prize.
And the important thing is here, it was a lapse in vision control down on the bottom. There were no scout cams in that Ghost Wing pit for Salty Potatoes. Kigaza's going for it. I think he had maybe seen 1 or 2 of the recalls thanks to the scout cams in the jungle for themselves.
Aeon's caught out here as well. Yeah, Paprika jumping onto this Celeste. Here comes PT Lamb around the side. Reddick's in trouble. Here comes the crew. Throwing the ult out, doesn't land. Paprika, though, going low. Chrysal pops the fountain, healing the team back up, and Reddick's charges up that Dragon's Breath straight into Viking. He will fall back. At the moment, Wolves just trying to find a single kill, but they can't quite finish off this fight. Currently controlling that Black Claw pit, but it's not ready to spawn yet. Salty Potatoes just going to fall back, and Wolves really not finding what they want.
It feels like this Wolves lineup has a good grasp of objective control when you look at the global objectives, the Black Claw, the Ghost Wing. It feels like they have good timing on that. The difficulty I think that they're running into is some of the skirmishes and the setup towards the global objectives. They've only secured 3 kills in this game because they haven't really been able to orchestrate the fights in the way they want them to. Now maybe they can force one down on the bottom side, but they will end up losing towers in the mid lane in exchange for this.
Potentially, we do see Wolves pushing down, and it looks like the rest of Salty Potatoes are trying to get in position to help Viking out. Will be a block coming through. Viking blocks up that churn ult. So much put onto killing Viking, and he's still alive. Huge stun comes out of rear end, and Salty Potatoes are winning the fight. Paprika loses his life, so does Asteroid, and that's going to be a 3rd kill coming through as the Churn Walker falls as well. Redix and Kigaza left alive, standing, will start to run as fast as they can down this bot side jungle. Great Spitfires connecting continuously. That goop burning Aeon alive. Will have to fall back here, and Wolves will just about hold off, but so greedy, pushing down so far.
Yeah, I envisioned a situation where you get that first kill and then slowly look to move through the bottom lane tower, not try and dive behind the turret and try and get the kill. Like, Wolves overextending down through that bottom lane and get punished hard for it. Now Salty Potatoes once again back in full control here. They haven't got any scout cams around this Black Claw. That's the next step for them. We need to see them move in and actually secure that vision. But nobody is doing it yet. This is actually letting Wolves get away with murder at this point. Wolves can very easily set up for their own vision control here, which should not be happening when you're the team that are behind on map play like this.
Wolves engaging this fight, and Kigaza will be the first victim, not who you want to go down. PC Lamb will continue the chase. Asteroid is retreating. The Solar Storm rips through rear and finds that fish food stun once more. This is disastrous for Wolves. Asteroid trying to get onto the back line to blow them all up, but Paprika is losing his life. Fearsome Shade gets dodged, but it's not enough. That will be Paprika losing his life, followed by more. It's a bloodbath, and Salty Potatoes are the ones bathing in it as they take down the Churn Walker. Only Redix left alive. Finds a kill, his first of the game, and will be able to escape as well. Lots of damage done. Is it enough to deter Black Claw? I don't think so.
There's still 15 seconds on some of the death timers as well, so Salty Potatoes are saying, okay, maybe it's a little too easy to get picked off at the end of a Black Claw. They're going to go down to Ghost Wing, pick that up, get the regeneration for themselves and then move out. The thing is, Redix is still around. Redix has a lot of damage from long range here. One or two of those A's may very well connect here and just... Oof, okay, didn't quite want to go for it. Didn't want to risk the 4 versus 2. I think that's the right decision at the end of it, but Wolves certainly letting this game get away from them even further, right? Salty Potatoes doing a good job of actually prioritizing the objective they can take rather than rolling the dice.
I mean, look at the scoreboard, 17-4. You would think this would be a extremely dominant game from Salty Potatoes, but at this 19-minute mark, there's only 3,000 difference in goal. Wolves have really kept themselves afloat here as much as possible. Surely, with this Ghost Wing taken and now the Black Claw started, Paprika on the wrong side of the map, this could be the undoing for Wolves in this game. We'll have to find out as Chrysior setting up the Churn Walker chains. Kigaza in so much trouble to Viking, but Viking now caught out. Fearsome Shade keeps him alive. Chrysior stuck in the middle of nowhere. It is going to be the engage coming out of Ace Roy, but he gets popped and gets taken straight down. 2 kills for nil at the moment as this Black Claw continues to be taken. The Spitfire's over the wall, trying to find the steal but can't. Paprika now will lose his life as well. 3 gone for nothing and a Black Claw to push down the mid lane. Salty Potatoes prepped to win this one.
Oh, when you look at it, Viking and PT Lamb have a combined 13, 0, and 23 scoreline. Like, that is such a difficult combination to deal with when they're this far ahead. We've always talked about how this Baptiste, the weapon power Baptiste went ahead, is so devastating when he gets on you in fights, and that's exactly what is happening here. These armories, the towers, everything is falling so quickly. The Salty Potatoes are just going to wrap this one up, you have to feel.
Kigaza trying to fight Aeon all by himself. A lot of damage dealt to Aeon, and Chrysior pulls him back in. Wolves might be able to mount a defense, but as I say that, another kill goes Vikings' way. And he is ticking away. Does he lose his life? He's burning. I don't think he will. Cruel finds the stun. It is going to be Paprika taking out PT Lamb. Aeon in the backline doing some work on this Celeste. Really just trying to hold Wolves back from that Black Claw taking their Vein Crystal. Paprika finds a double, looking for a triple, but Viking says no, another kill for me. Imagination left in the base by himself, trying to take out Redix. Chrysior trying to stop that from happening, will lose his life finally. This Black Claw, so healthy, half HP, the Vein Crystal being taken. Rear End, the captain says, I've got this. A Fish Food locks up Redix. He might have to fall back here. I think Rear End could do it. Vikings in the fight as well. Full health teleports back. This should be Salty Potatoes taking the lead, taking the win here. They just have to focus the Vein Crystal. Don't even worry about the death here, Viking. You've done enough. 24-8, 21 minutes in. It will be Salty Potatoes knocking down Wolves after a bloodbath of a match.
Crazy game. Viking going unkilled. A great performance from PT Lamb after the roster change, the swap of position. Salty Potatoes looking a lot better in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. They found their feet in this one. They will take that win over Wolves in dominant style. Let's see what FlashX and Tasty Bacon will make of that